Hello and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sherry Ann.
So let's get grounded with Pest. Sherry Ann, will you start first?
Yes. Okay. So physically, I am a 4, emotionally 4-3, spirit 4-1, hope 4-4. And my word is accomplishment.
Okay.
Your turn.
Physically a 4.15. Emotionally a 4.4. Spiritually a 4.25, and hope is a 4.6. And my word is adventure.
Okay.
So we're going to continue on the topic that we kind of started last podcast episode. So last time was cancer and death and dying, which is a big topic on its own, but we also really focused on the patient perspective, even survivor perspective with the shadow of cancer, and something that we at the Cancer Journey Institute feel should never go overlooked is the caregiver perspective and what caregivers are experiencing as, their loved ones come and go, because there's so much that's left behind. We talked about how when someone passes, their suffering ends, but it's those who are left behind who really have pieces to pick up. So here's where we wanted to focus today.
Right. And an underscoring theme under that is grief. It is the grief of loss. It's the grief of letting go. It's the grief of things are not as they used to be.
And I want to say too, that's the grief of love. There's so much there, and we want to hold grief. When we hear the word, right, we're immediately thinking of grievances. We're thinking of maybe funerals and like you said, loss. And it is a big loss, but it's because there's so much love there and so much care there that we get to feel grief. So I think that there's kind of a reframe that we do that it makes it's a lot less I'm grieving and I'm sad and this is awful, but it's also like it's a celebration of how much love and care and connection there was in that relationship that we get to feel that grief.
Right. And the feeling that of grief is that loss. It's like, the sadness, the sorrow, the debilitating hole that seems to be left behind. And we're grieving that. But I really do believe that along with that is this grieving of how it was. And that's filled with love, yes, or whatever. But it's what was, and now it's different. And it wasn't because we asked for it or we created it. That kind of loss is more like I'm in the pit. I gotta let something go, but I'm creating that. This is just like a done to you kind of feeling.
Yeah, it can leave people feeling really powerless and helpless. Absolutely emptiness with that like literal missing hole, missing chunk of yourself, and it feels so like I didn't ask for this, I don't want this. But here we are having to deal with it and having to hold this space for it because I actually think really grieving is like all of these all of these layers of emotions, right? There's so much going on there, and I think a lot of times people want to swing into what they want to call guilt, which is which it's so much more than just the feeling of guilt that's wrapped into what we call guilt. And it's hard because there's still so much that continues, right? Like they are a big piece of your life, or maybe they're a small piece of your life, but it affects your life overall. And yet there are these things that are still moving forward, even when you want to stop and you just want to take a moment to honor this time or be sad, or you feel like you're halted because there's something in your being that just stops you. and you're like, "I can't keep up with this thing that's supposed to keep moving, I need to stop."
Right. And I think that the stopping is excellent. I mean, it's exactly what needs to happen. And I know for me, when there's that type of loss, I literally feel like my heart hurts. Like I get a heartache because my heart broke because I lost, so that I feel like I lost this part of my life that was important, that I held dear. There's a sentence that wants to come out like, no, I don't want this. I didn't choose this. I don't want this to happen. And
Yeah.
yet, for us on the cancer journey, there are individuals that leave and they release their body and they go on to their next journey. And we see it and we experience it again and again. And it doesn't make the grieving any different. It doesn't make the loss any easier. It's not a head thing. The grief is truly heart, body, somatic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like you just there's so many different ways to grieve, and we don't just choose one and go that way, or we're not just wired to approach grief in one way. It shows up differently for us constantly depending on what's going on. Sometimes when we are able to be back in the groove of our everyday thing, we get all of a sudden sidelined by this memory of them, and then we have to stop, and we can't any longer continue in the way that we just were. And maybe it's for a moment. Maybe it's like 5 minutes that you just need to be sad, or like a few seconds to think about them, and the emptiness that you're feeling in that moment, or something happens that reminds you of them and you just kind of sink for a little bit. Or it could be a week, it could be months. It doesn't really matter how much time it is, but there is this kind of bouncing back and forth into it that feels so odd, or at least that's what I've experienced with grief, is that I'm able to continue going along things. It's not that I'm pretending that it didn't happen. It's just I'm continuing the pattern of my life, and then something will come up, some spark. I don't want to call it a trigger because I don't really think of it so much as a trigger, but some spark that reminds me of them. And we can't really know what impact them leaving will have in your life until it happens. And so once once they're gone, they're just these little moments where you're like, "Oh, they made that so much easier," or
Right?
"Wow, that's something that they really loved." And it's like looking at a flower, or like someone says a phrase, like they're so innocuous, and you can't really expect when they're going to happen. So when you're someone who is one of the ones lucky enough to have and hold this memory with them, you still need to give yourself the time to be with it. Because it's not your fault that they're not there. It's not your fault that you're sad. And that's really hard for people. It brings up a lot of constricting emotions.
Yeah. The sadness, the sorrow, but there's also an emptiness. I was having a memory this morning, a fun memory of time with somebody who had just passed, very dear to me and you. Um, and it was joyful. It was a joyful memory. And the sadness was because I don't get to play with them anymore. I don't get to experience more adventures with them anymore. And so I have the memories, but it's like, oh, it's not tangible. And that's what I mean by it's so somatic. It's like, while my mind is remembering a moment, my mind's trying to make sense of it. And I'm like, there's no making sense of this. It's just what is.
Hmm.
But my whole body goes, oh,
Hmm. Yeah. And I think it's so true that in your body, you feel the loss so differently than in your mind. And that's when I think a lot of people struggle too, because their body almost wants to collapse out of sorrow, out of emptiness, out of that resonance of missing someone. And in our head, we want to be logical, and so we're like, we can't do anything about it. What's happened's happened. We still love them. We still honor them. Like, life still goes on. All of those things we want to tell ourselves, but like your body, like it really knows and it feels the loss and it wants to be heard and recognized. And it's really hard to find that place where they meet. I mean, I think that you and I are really lucky that in this situation, this current loss that we're experiencing, we have the resources to talk about it. We have CJI, we have the people here who really get it, and who know that death is a reality of this field we're in. Um, so there's a lot more softness to come into, but there's a lot of people, I want to say, even just generally in the general public, there's so much toxic positivity in lieu of like that soft comfort. It's like, it's going to be okay. People want to be like, you'll forget about it or something like that, but that's not what you need when you're grieving. So
Right.
caregivers, caregivers especially, I just want to like, it's so easy for us to constantly put ourselves aside, especially because we felt like we did that maybe during the cancer journey, to give up our own needs for the needs of the what person who was perhaps suffering, or going through treatment. But now is our time to focus on yourself too,
Yes.
because that journey, that specific journey has ended and they're on to some other journey elsewhere. Your journey to take care of yourself and what this part of your life means for you after this big turning point is, it's new territory.
Right. And that feeling is not going to go away. So the more we try to push it away and not face it, the longer it's going to linger. Not saying that it's a bad feeling. It doesn't feel good. It feels sadness, sorrow, all of that very, oh, I can't even think of another word. Not depressed, but it's got this very slow moving resonance. Doesn't feel so great. And
Mm-hmm.
it does feel constricting. And so what we know is by feeling it and having the caregivers have a place where they can just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about it, because that's part of the processing. It's never going to go away, but like you said, it's going to morph, it's going to change, it's going to be something else. And I've been reading a lot of phrases like, well, live with the love that you had, or remember the love that you had. And that's good, but that still doesn't take away that pain,
Mm-hmm.
that hole that feels left behind. And you want to fill that hole, but you don't know how to do that. Or let me speak for myself. I don't know how to do that. And I don't think that anybody can. It's just going to be this space that person's heart and love and presence was a part of. And now I get to grow from it and add more things and lovingly remember what that's like to have that person here and create more in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to sound like callous, like, okay, we're gonna, replace it. We're not. It's just, it's a really being with it so that it can flow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that also, even if you've experienced loss of one person, having another person go is not the same. It's not like, oh, I've experienced death in my life, I know how to handle it. Every person's gonna it's gonna feel different. The loss of any person that does leave, and it's kind of the hardest time to be rational as the person who's left behind, and it's such an out of body experience. So I mean, I think more than anything, like you said, a good practice is to, it's as a caregiver especially, have someone that you can talk and talk and talk to. I actually think it'd be kind of a nice practice for you and I right now, like we each take a turn and we'll like close our eyes for like a minute and we'll just rattle off everything that's here for us for this recent loss, because I don't think we've gotten to do that, and I think this might be a nice time to.
Mm, okay. Well, that would be an interesting experiment.
Okay. Do you want to go?
Okay. Okay, so everything that I'm feeling,
Mhm.
honor, sweet, gentle space, um, sadness of not having that person to just text, pick up the phone, email, and say, hey, this is happening. Not having that person to lean into or to ask questions about because they know the answer.
10 seconds.
I feel lost time and I want more
Mhm.
and the preciousness.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go and then we'll do how did that feel for us?
Okay,
Okay, tell me when to go.
I'm going to time you.
Okay.
1 minute. Go.
Appreciation. Mm. I feel lucky to have had so much experience with this person and to have had like some very, very beautiful, joyful moments. Um I miss like the soft heart of them and the endless reliability with always met with kindness and never aggression. Even in moments of, confusion that we figured it out together and we were able to evolve our relationship to be really supportive and understanding of one another, and I feel like I've learned a lot of patience. Um,
10.
a lot of warmth and trust in themselves when they were feeling really vulnerable. I think was really I got to see how powerful, and that was so beautiful. Feel like I got to see this person really blossom over the years.
Yes, and time.
How'd that feel for you, Sherry Ann?
It felt good. What I realized is I was visualizing her and I got to say a lot of what I wanted to say at the end, which helped. So there's no regrets. It just went so fast.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. For me too, I feel like I've been carrying around sadness, but I haven't had time to give it time. And so even having a minute to just be with it here and know that I'm being witnessed, so it's not like I'm speaking to the ether. Um, it's I don't want to say it's transformative now, but it does make such an impact on my being. Like I feel like I let out like the deepest breath after holding my breath for so long, you know? So it's very reassuring to have that, even just like as a practice and just, if I came to anyone and I said, "Hey, just time me for like a minute or two. I just need to um word dump, like word vomit, just like everything I'm feeling right now, that I haven't had a place to do." And I think sometimes that gets lost in journaling for me personally. I mean, I still journal, but it's like all the thoughts come to my brain and I can say them faster than I can write them down. And so it feels more effective for me to get them out. And then the practice is like I'm literally releasing breath and I'm releasing
Hmm.
sound. And so there's so much emotional release with that too. So I can, while I may not feel it initially now, I do feel some relief now, but I do think that as I sit with it throughout the day and know that I had this moment, there's only more to be unraveled with time and space with it.
Yeah, I agree. And it is time and space. I realize that since it happened, I've been using my drive time to just kind of not zone out because I'm paying attention to the road, but really just being with the quiet
Hmm.
and my thoughts or my feelings, really my feelings, and just letting them be and not pushing them back or not judging them. And memories, of course, come back. And and my wants was like, I want more, more, more. And then there is an end to things. I mean, and that's just the way that now I'm trying to be. No, my rational mind is kicking in. There's
That
no there's no going on and on.
mhm.
There is an end to everything. So I'm trying to embrace that
Yeah.
and really bring in, what did I gain from this wonderful relationship?
Mhm.
And there were, like any relationship, there was, tense times too. But then we learned something from that.
Mhm. I think that I would like to think that I've experienced more grief in my young life than many do. Um, and something that I don't want to say that I've learned this from grief, but something that has helped me is to um I guess kind of choose what the message is there for me and what I'm taking away from it. That's my main thing that I'm really honoring in that relationship that I'm going to continue to live for and honor as I continue to live on, and continue to hold them. For me, something I did definitely learn with my grief is that talking about that person and keeping their memory alive with the people who know or don't know them, has been so impactful, because even though it's painful, obviously, to talk about them and thinking about their loss, to be able to continue to share them with other people, helps me connect them to what's now. And also the people that are here with me who are listening to it, they also get to then become a part of that story too. And so then the story never completes. I mean, there is that phrase of like, we die twice, right? We die when um, our physical body is gone, and then the last time someone utters our name or speaks of our memory. And
Hmm.
that's definitely something that I think about, and I will never stop talking about the people who have passed, because I wouldn't be who I am without them either. And they matter so much, and it's fortunately and unfortunately, sometimes we really only get to recognize that value after they're gone, because we don't know what it's like to live without them until we're forced to live without them.
Oh, I'm leaning into the thought of pre-grieving, and I don't know why that came up, but I did experience a lot of pre-grieving before the actual passing.
Mhm.
And I do think that that is beneficial to our spirit. It's not the preparation, but it's kind of like not making it such a big event. Like here, not here. It's more like, I'm going to honor you now. And I'm actually taking the lesson from that is, why don't we just appreciate people every day that really matter? And it does kind of wake me up every time someone I've cared for passes away, that life is short. And so now, how do I want to continue to live my life with their memory?
Yeah,
Because that memory made me kind of do the little wake up. It's like, okay, yes. And so I can say, good morning, whoever. I love the idea of saying their name and keeping them in our lives, but knowing that we're continuing our lives.
yeah, absolutely. Honestly, it's funny that you bring up pre-grieving, and maybe this goes kind of along with it, but grief doesn't always have to be loss as in death, right? Like, especially on a cancer journey, grief can start to feel like people you thought were going to be there for you who aren't there for you anymore, and friends, family, whoever it is. And um, it's with giving ourselves the grace to know that it's not our fault when someone passes, when someone leaves our life. It's not our fault. Um, they were just no longer meant to be there at this time. And that one I feel like is a little bit harder, because sometimes it's like they could have still been here. They're literally here, right? And that's a little different. But a lot of the same places to hold. I'm not saying pretend that they're, you know, gone out of this life, but to then hold them as like, they were a lesson. I learned something from it. I am grateful for, the impact that they have had in my life, and they're no longer going to have impact. I can still honor that time. I don't have to hold anger or emptiness or well, maybe emptiness. I think that's fine. I don't have to have anger toward that person. I don't need to elicit anything negative or push anything on that person. Um, and we can let them go gracefully if they're ready to leave us, however they're meant
Right. I mean, and if we really go that far, because we are talking about grieving, it's not always a person. Especially, so just to touch on it again, and then I'll do my takeaway, is when you're in the pit, one of the ways to get out is to let go of something that no longer serves you. And that could be a way of doing things. I was a heavy duty power through. I'll just take care of it. Don't ask for help. Well, that didn't serve me so well in the cancer journey. And yet there is a part of me that really appreciated that person, that type A person. And so there was some grieving of that. Or it could be the grief of a job that doesn't work anymore, or a home. We had our home destroyed in 2017 and had to grieve that. I mean, there's a lot of grieving, and what we're realizing is there is a hole that's left. Doesn't matter whether we created the letting go. There is just a hole, and being with that and taking the learning and having the appreciation for what was really is part of us embracing and living our lives. I think that's my takeaway.
Are you sure? You can take a beat and do a real takeaway if you want more.
I felt complete then. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do my PESH, which is 4, 4, 2, 4, 3, and 4, 4. So it hasn't changed that much. And my word is clear. Clear and calm. I'm going to take 2 words today. Your
Okay.
turn.
My takeaway on grief is honestly like how lucky we are to be able to grieve, Like there's this immense sadness that comes with it. Oh my god, I might cry. There's this immense sadness that comes with grief, but it's such a gift to be able to care for people that much and to know that you have the capacity for it, to care that much for a life you had, people you had, the moments you had together. I'm like really grateful to grieve personally. I know it's a really sad time, obviously, when everything comes in, but there's just so much gratitude there for the fact that we're able to. And yes, it can be really frustrating and it can make us want to scream and break things. And I say do that in a safe space. Definitely do what you have to do to get through your grief, but making time for it and giving yourself grace because grieving is not easy. Grieving is like all of the emotions, like all at once. It's like happy, sad, empty, angry, frustrated, depressed, hopeless, joyful. Like it's all those things because they meant so much to you, and whatever has been gone has meant so much to you that yeah, there's just so much there. So my word that goes with that is just love. And my pesh. Oh, my pesh, I never remember my pesh from the beginning. So let's see what my numbers are. Physically, I am a 4.2. Emotionally, I am a 4.75. Spiritually, I'm a 4.25. And hope is a 4.5. And yeah, my word is love.
So now I just want to add my takeaway, which is how beautiful that we opened our hearts so that we could love that much, because we wouldn't grieve to this level if we didn't. And it was lovely. It always is to love.
Yeah. This is thank you for joining us today. This is a really big topic for us right now and just in the work that we do. So it's something that we definitely want to honor. So thank you so much for being here with us.
We will see you again soon. Next week, we'll drop another podcast. Have a lovely rest of your day, and remember, you're more powerful than you realize.